In the winter of 1942, the city of Stalingrad was not just a name on a map. It was the heartbeat of a nation and the graveyard of thousands. A city where survival meant fighting not just the enemy, but hunger, frost, and fear. The fate of millions would be decided in its smoking ruins. This is the story of Stalingrad, where hell froze over and men refused to die. Before the bombs fell, Stalingrad was a city of workers and families. Children laughed along the Volga River. Factories roared with industry. It was the pride of the Soviet Union. But deep in the West, a shadow was moving. Hitler's ambition had no end, and his eyes turned east, toward the city that bore Stalin's name. To take Stalingrad, he believed, was to crush the Soviet spirit itself. In August 1942, the sky above Stalingrad turned black. Luftwaffe bombers rained fire and steel upon the city. Thousands were buried alive beneath the rubble. Streets became rivers of dust and blood. But the people, they did not run. They dug trenches between the ruins, fought with whatever they could find, and turned every broken wall into a fortress. Not a step back, Stalin ordered, and they obeyed, with blood and tears. The Germans called it Rottenkrieg, the Rat War. Street by street, room by room, the fighting was so close that soldiers could hear each other breathe. Snipers watched from the shattered windows, waiting for the faintest movement. In cellars, both armies slept, ate, and died, often within meters of each other. The city was no longer a battlefield. It was a living nightmare. Yet the Soviet soldiers clung to every inch of land, whispering to themselves, "We are Stalingrad." Then, as winter tightened its icy grip, the tide began to turn. Soviet forces encircled the German 6th Army in Operation Uranus, trapping over 300,000 men in the frozen ruins. Food ran out. Ammunition dwindled. Soldiers burned their own uniforms for warmth. Hitler ordered them to hold the city. No surrender. But Stalingrad itself held them instead, in its cold, merciless hands. On February 2nd, 1943, silence fell over Stalingrad. The once invincible 6th Army had been destroyed. What remained of the city was nothing but ashes and ghosts. Out of more than 2 million who entered the inferno, less than a quarter walked out alive. But from the ruins rose something greater, the unbreakable spirit of a people who refused to yield. Stalingrad was more than a victory. It was a message to the world. Even in the darkest winter, hope can burn brighter than fire. This was not just the battle for a city. It was the battle for humanity's soul. And in Stalingrad, the human spirit